Okay? The chromosomes are different lengths, and there's a reason for that, and I'll tell you that in a bit. Okay, but the cell starts with a 4. So this is my cell. All right, this is my nucleus, and these are my 4 chromosomes. Ready? Okay. So what's the first stage of the cell cycle we talked about? G what? G1. Good, good. So you got G1, right? That's the gap phase, all right? This is where the cell is like doing its cell jobs and it's growing. Okay, what comes after G1? S, right? So what happens in S? All your DNA replicates. Very good. So what that means is that every chromosome that's present in your cell will double. This my chromosome keeps falling apart. I have some messed up kids. Ah, my God, my chromosome. All right, I'm not going to push these together anymore. But anyway, you get the idea. Doubles, right? Okay, so what that means is that because this new strand is an exact copy of this one, right? This one is an exact copy of this one. This one is exactly the same as the original one. This one and this one are exactly the same. Everybody with me so far? Because it's DNA replication, right? So it's supposed to be exactly the same. Now, each chromosome is now made up of 2 strands, okay? The 2 strands together are still called a chromosome, okay? But now we say the chromosome is in its duplicated form, all right? And now, these 2 things together is called like 1 chromosome. Each strand, though, is now called a chromatid, okay? And they're joined together in the middle by this white thing that's called a centromere. Okay, these are all terms that you will need to know. All right, so each chromosome is now in its double state, but if we were counting chromosomes in the cell, we would still say there are 1, 2, 3, 4 chromosomes. They're just all doubled now. Okay, so each chromosome now is made up of 2 chromatids joined together by a centromere in the middle. We okay so far? Yeah? So still 4. All right? Okay, what comes after S? G2. G2? Good. The cell is doing its cell jobs, right? Getting ready for cell division. Okay, what comes after G2? M. Good. What's the first stage of mitosis? Prophase. Okay, so what happens in prophase is that the nucleus disappears. Right, so you get rid of the nucleus. Right? Nucleus goes away. Then you have these little structures that are called centrioles. Okay? You normally have 1 in your cell. What happens in prophase is that this one copies itself, so you end up with 2. And the second one moves over here. All right? The reason why that's important is because these centrioles are the things that make fibers. Okay? And you need the fibers to move the chromosomes around. All right? Because remember, these things are not alive. Okay? So to get them to move the way your cell wants to, your cell has to have fibers that move them. It's part of the cytoskeleton. Remember we talked about cytoskeleton? Good. So, in prophase, nucleus disappears, the centriole replicates, and the second one moves over here. Okay? What comes after prophase? Metaphase. Good. In metaphase, right, fibers come out of the centrioles, right, and they make the chromosomes line up in a single line along the middle of the cell. So they line up in a straight line. So metaphase, middle. So in metaphase, they line up in the middle. Okay? What comes after metaphase? Good. During anaphase, what happens is these chromatids, they separate from each other. And the fibers are what's pulling them. So they separate this way. And they go to opposite sides of the cell. So these 2 separate. Ah, not like that. Right? Goes over here. These 2 separate. And this one goes over here. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, 4 on this side. Right? So it's a chromatid separate during anaphase. Okay? What comes after anaphase? Telophase. Good. During telophase, new nuclei form. So that means this becomes a nucleus, and this becomes a nucleus. That's telophase. What comes after telophase? Good. Cytokinesis. What happens in cytokinesis is that you have your 2 nuclei being formed, right? The rest of the cell, or the cytoplasm, that separates. Okay? So what happens is that you get a new cell being formed here, and this becomes the second new cell. So remember, you started off with 1 cell originally that had 4 chromosomes, Okay, now at the end of mitosis, you have 2 daughter cells, right? And they have 4 chromosomes each. Okay, and the 4 that are here are exactly the same as the 4 that are here. All right, any questions? We okay? Can you get into groups of 3 and do this at your own table? Good. That's what you're gonna have to do, right? There are markers